Hello Internet, this is Gatsby from Gatskin signing in here with what is going to be a very chaotic, or at the least semi-chaotic sketchbook tour. And that will be because not only is the art in this sketchbook in itself pretty chaotic, but I have a strong feeling that there's at least going to be some background noise that is going to happen that is out of my control. I have a few pets and they all like to be very vocal. So I apologize in advance that I just know that there's gonna be some barking, there's gonna be some meowing, so hopefully you can bear with me. Anyways, this sketchbook is a gift, well, it wasn't late. I need to not ramble so much in this, but it was a birthday gift from a relative, and it took me about 2 months to complete. The cover's like made of cork, or something similar. I drew a little bunny here with paint markers to decorate the cover. And starting off with this very chaotic sketchbook is, well, you know, basic info. We've got some Vocaloid stickers from Five Below, and yes, that is indeed Justin Bieber. So if anyone who frequents this channel knows, I made a video a while back where I made characters based off of Emma Artley's Pinterest challenge, but I twisted that and kind of did my own thing, modified it a little bit. And originally I was going to follow Emma Artley's challenge to a T, but I ended up not doing that. In fact, I didn't like that original attempt so much that I scrapped that idea. And then I had the idea of making a video where I did randomized Pokemon and then made humanizations out of them, aka Jijinkas. So it was going to be a Grookey, and the idea is that they were going to be a band. So I thought it'd be really ironic if the Grookey character played like the guitar or the bass, since, you know, Grookey, the whole line is about drumming and percussions. There was a Wurmple was one of the Pokemon I got, and I was thinking of like something kind of punkish for the character design, since the eyes of a Wurmple kind of remind me of like gauges people get in their ears. One of them in the band was a Mankey. There was also, final one was an Aggron. So I was drawing Aggron a little bit, just trying to figure out how to understand Aggron, deconstruct Aggron. There was some more exploration with the Grookey character, trying to figure out what I was going to do with the Wurmple. This is totally off topic. This is, okay, Katie Sagal, an actress. She's also a voice actress, you know, voiced Leela in Futurama. She has, if I remember correctly, has been cast to play Dr. Kreha in the live action One Piece. And I thought that was so funny that I drew Leela. There I go. That's another reason why this video is going to be so chaotic. I just can't say anything right. But yes, Leela is going to cosplay Dr. Kreha here. But I had the idea for this Aggron character, since I wanted all these Jijinkas to be more, I guess, realistic, more modern day fashion, that maybe make Aggron like a football player. And then that idea kind of transformed. So I did like studies of like football gear. Like, what if Aggron was like a superhero LARPer, but he used football gear to make up his superhero costume? That really didn't go anywhere. We have some doodles of two of my OCs. This is Damien, this is Shinju. They're, you know, hand in unlovable hand. This joke is not a funny joke, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's like Toxic Yuri if it was straight people, or Toxic Yaoi. Hashtag representation. God, that was awful. Listen, it's just the thing about me, is just I talk to myself so much, is a lot of my little things that I laugh at are actually very stupid and not at all funny. This was a doodle. Some of this was doodles I did just trying to kill time. I think helping a relative at a doctor's office visit. I had to do, you know, you live in the South and you draw art, you're always gonna have a relative who asks you to draw Jesus. So that was, I was going to draw his stigmata on his feet as he was walking away from the, I did. But yeah, that was a commission I had to do for a relative, studies for that. This is just doodles, little doodles. Stop fighting! Had smiling friends on at the time. Charming show, charming show. This is, I just remembered, had a lot of nostalgia when I was a kid. Probably one of my first ever hyperfixations as a undiagnosed child with ADHD was the 1991 Disney's animated Beauty and the Beast. And I decided to go and just do some, you know, screen cap redraws, you know, scene studies. This turned these two when, you know, Beast is walking into the light when he's first properly introduced. I turned that into a dumb little comic where he's just asking, you know, Belle if she has games on her phone, because that used to be a meme, right? Ha ha ha, funny. This is some other doodles, some more bells, this is my OC, Azure, random lady. These are doodles. I actually have this idea. I've always wanted to do my own telling of Beauty and the Beast. And this specific idea is one I've had since I was probably 9 years old, like the base idea of it. And it incorporates stuff from both Swan Lake and Arthurian legend. This is what, you know, the Beast, I guess, would look like. I don't think it'll be anytime soon where I actually talk about this idea because, you know, despite having this idea for such a long time, it's still very rough, if that makes sense. But basically, all you need to know is the Beast is very, I guess, pompous, smug, uppity. I guess it's a beautiful beast and a beastly beauty is the best way to describe it quickly. Just some more doodles this time of my Sona. I did this little comic thinking about, you know, I'd made a TikTok out of it because I was like, oh, I need to revive my TikTok account. But then I was like, wait a minute. I don't need to use TikTok. I have enough internet brain rot. I don't need any more. So I decided against that. This is behind the scenes doodles of that video I made where I did my own like Hatsune Miku designs, figuring stuff out for that. More doodles. I like how this was colored with watercolor pencil, and I really like how that looks. This right here, it's kind of covered up, was a scrapped idea for that Miku video where it was going to be like a mold Miku and she was going to be like a white dress, in a white dress. And you know, mold can come in so many different colors. So it's going to have like all this different colorful mold on her. But I felt like that was just a bit too strange, a bit too weird for YouTube. We have Wizard Miku. This is, if it wasn't obvious enough, since I did go on that spiel about Beauty and the Beast earlier, I do really love fairy tales, and I really like the obscure ones. This is kind of me thinking about doing ideas on my own concept of this really obscure fairy tale called The Green Serpent. And basically, it's these two girls. It's like a Sleeping Beauty situation where when they're babies, an evil fairy curses one of them to be the most ugly thing on earth. And she was called Ladronette, and her younger sister who got to stay pretty was called Bellonette. And Ladronette, understandably, you know, nobody really liked being around her, despite the fact that she has a great personality and is quite intelligent. So then it kind of turns into the fairy tale, I guess, like a Howl's Moving Castle situation, where like there's this green serpent, that's her love and interest. He's a cursed king or prince. You know, they're both cursed, and it's definitely an idea, you know, doing my own retelling, my own take on it, I think would be interesting, but that won't be probably anytime soon. This is my OC Daisy. She's a pony. I was rethinking about doing her cutie mark. The one with circled red is the one I liked the most. Just some doodles of her. This is, I think, the Kid Cuisine Furby. This is me thinking about what the green serpent, because he, in the fairy tale, like he's said to be a green serpent, but like he's more clearly, because you know in sometimes dragons are called serpents, you know, what's the word? The parallel, not the parallel. Okay, Elmer Fudd. The combining of the two synonyms, is that what I'm thinking of? But just explorations on that. Just some more OC stuff. Nothing too stand out or unique. This was done with a combination of watercolor concentrate and I think India ink. That's my OC Prometheus. That's just some random lady. I watched this video about trying to make character interactions, like how to draw them better. I took some notes on that. I think it was Cubits who did the video. I need to get better at that. Something I need to get better. I need to get better at a lot of things. And you can probably tell at this point, I was getting very frustrated with my art. And this sketchbook is definitely, I would say, one that is definitely, you can tell I'm going through some stuff. Just very frustrated with what I'm drawing. I like how this rabbit looks though, just how it twists and forms its body, I think is interesting. Here, I remember I was just so frustrated with what I was doing. I just scribbled on the page and then I went over and did some really poor looking figure studies with paint marker and then drew over those again with pen. This is when I went back to that idea of turning that Pinterest challenge Emma Artley did, but this time was me turning it into my own thing. So what would become that final video, specifically that robot character, like, you know, doing quick little studies on the mechons from Xenoblade, that kind of thing. Some more doodles. I did a finished version of this, but I was gonna have like other art in that video of characters, you know, like pickling pumpkins. That never worked out. We got a dragon. Next we're gonna have a lot of doodles of Grendel from the Australian animated movie Grendel, 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 which is an adaptation of the book Grendel by, I believe, John Gardner. I really like that movie. It's a good movie. I think the design of Grendel in it is very adorable. If I remember, it's still free to watch on Tubi. So if you ever get the chance, this is like, what, my third time recommending it. I really recommend it. It's a good movie. This was an anime figure I saw on Pinterest that I totally garbled. Like, look at that leg. It's so bad. Got some more doodles. I really like just taking either ink or watercolor. In this case, it was the watercolor concentrate. Just making a mess with it on page and then just doodling over on top of that. This is, once again, just more art block frustration. What is art? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Little paint marker drawing of Daisy. More doodles of my OC Azure. I like to think Azure wears baggy clothes when not in outfits they don't want to wear, so got some Azures and some baggy clothes. This is my OC John. Some other stuffs. So for the longest time, people who've been around this channel a lot know that for the longest time I was calling John Volpez, and I decided to retcon his name to be John. This was a little comic I made to kind of explain the idea to my friends online. So there's lore to that. There's also another reason why I decided to go with the name John, aside from a play on the term John Doe. But I'm not gonna say that because it's kind of silly. But if you can figure out why, my other reason for calling him John, then you get 1 million imaginary dollars. So I had an idea for another video that ended up getting scrapped, was to turn songs into illustrations. I actually did make one, I actually posted it in my community tab because I scrapped the video, where it was Good Luck Babe by Chapel. I think it's Chapel Roan. And the other two I was going to do was going to be Swamp Thing by the Chameleons, and then Part of the Madness that Rebecca Sugar did for the Fiona and Cake TV show. Some more doodles. The bleed through from the next page really messed this one up. It's kind of scary looking, isn't it? So this is, at this point in time, one reason why that illustration video got scrapped is then I got really dedicated to making sure John and his evil alternate future timeline self, Kilson, got redesigns. So that was what a lot of this is focused on. As you can see, in an earlier iteration of his redesign, he was more of like a Renaissance guy before I went into more Puritan fashion. I then went back to thinking about, because I really like the song Swamp Thing by the Chameleons. It's a really good song. I like it a lot. It's very moody. As you can probably tell by these lyrics that I've written down. But that specific that specific part of the song is what I wanted to base this illustration from. So I was just doing more doodles, kind of exploring what, the composition could be. And I really wanted their focus to be that conflict between John and his, evil future self from an alternate timeline that he doesn't want to be like. So yeah, we have more Kilson doodles. He's so messed up, and I just like drawing him looking just, I don't know. He just looks like that. More explorations for this illustration that never was. As you can see for a bit there, I was very dedicated. There's Nova, one of my other characters. She's very depressed. This is probably one of my favorite pages in this whole sketchbook. This was me just still, doodling Kilson, trying to figure out what I wanted him to look like. And I just really like this one specifically because he looks so demented. I can just hear him laughing insanely. I also like this little thing. I like the color it is. I'm not sure if this camera, since I'm just using my phone camera for it, how well it picks up the colors, but we can just, me doing more. This is what, trying to figure out what John looks like underneath, the mask. Poor guy, he got a little bit roughed up, but that's okay. There's this one Kilson. I really love this doodle because it looks like he's about to break it down. Like, just the idea of him trying to dance is so stupid. I love it. This is just some more doodles. So I was gonna do Cringe-tober. I totally failed at that. And part of that was because I decided for whatever reason, I was going to do one of the days in my sketchbook traditionally. And I think that was part of the reason why it just never came to be, because having to then mentally grasp like how I was going to make the video when some of it, I didn't even record the footage for because I just forgot. It just wasn't going to work. So yeah, this was specifically for the Fursona day, by the way. And I guess my little YouTube Sona is basically a Fursona. So, some more just little character interactions with some of my OCs. This one's very cursed. The proportions on this are very, very cursed. Just some more doodles. I like this pony. It's very sassy. I also like this because this is a very grumpy looking creature. This is like liminal space, just empty, abandoned space, studies. As you can see, oh, I skipped a page. See, this one's not as, I used a lot of India ink, one of the pages, actually on a lot of the pages further down. So a lot of that bleed through is coming back here and kind of obscuring things, but it is what it is. This is, so yeah, I just put a whole bunch of India ink and other stuff on one page and then just kind of went back with paint markers and other stuff and made an illustration, I guess. It's kind of creepy, hopefully not too much. And this is just another page where I just didn't really know what I was doing. And I was just very frustrated by the fact I didn't know what I was doing. Some more doodles. This page was actually empty and I went back and filled it later. So this, when I went back and drew it, at this point I had the idea for, you know, Puritan-esque Kilson in my mind. Next we have some studies I did, just poses from Pinterest. I drew them with like an orange highlighter, quick sketch, then lined it, and then any parts that this India ink, I've kind of tried to fill that over with an orange gel pen. It's very scribbly. I both kind of like this, but I also really hate this page. One, I'm just, you know, like, oh cool, some, you know, using the paint markers more, because I do like paint markers. But just how these two figures look, I think they were based off like poses I saw on Pinterest. They both look very much like something you would see from a early 2000s how to draw anime book, is all I'm going to say. So let me just go over to the next page. This was me experimenting with, I say experimenting, studying Puritan fashion, specifically men's Puritan fashion, before I would go on to put one and one together with Puritan Kilson. This was, you know, studies of like what John, like his default outfit was gonna be, because I wanted to change that too. Just various doodles, drawings of that. But this was, I did some quick feet studies and I didn't have a lot of fun with that. In fact, here's me. This was a little treat for myself to draw my little Sona, because I hate drawing feet. I think feet are disgusting. But no, this design of John was very close to the current version I have. So I'm getting there, I'm getting closer. This is, I think I drew something on this page, but I hated it so much that I went and glued some paper over it, and I drew John getting smushed in a box, because I just want to do that sometimes to him. Just some more doodles. This is Daisy. I like this drawing a lot. Some more little doodles of her. This is another one here I really like. This is, oh look, this is when I finally was drawing, you know, Puritan Kilson. Finally trying to, you know, put those dots together. This is, so I don't know anything about FNAF, but they had FNAF stickers that you could get from a vending machine from my local grocery store, and I thought they were really funny, so I got one, and I guess it's Chica, and I think she's withered. Is that the term? I don't know why she's withered, because I don't really know anything about FNAF, but we have just another, you know, doodle of, you know, Puritan Kilson. Here's John trying to figure out a laptop or some technological thing. This is some more studies of just kind of abandoned, or I don't want to say messed up, I guess abandoned, deserted places. Just some doodles here. This was another case of, I think I drew something underneath this paper and I hated it so much that I just put this here. Yay, gay people! This is Azure. I have this idea, I kind of want to explore it more in the future, where this is my OC Levka. He's supposed to have like this cool magic sword. But then I was like, you know, he's also lost an arm. What if his cool magic sword was his prosthetic arm and it might be evil or something? I don't know. Just an idea, just a thought. This sketchbook, like I want to make comics. I probably never will make comics, but I like to think that I will one day. So here we have this situation. There's no speech bubbles, but it's just John and Levka arguing, and they get so into it that Daisy starts yelling at them. And I like to think if I drew more to this and there was dialogue, Daisy would curse them out, and then like the next panel would them be just looking at her, just total shock and bewilderment. because up to that point, she had a very squeaky clean vocabulary. And I just think stuff like that is funny. You know, never test the limits of the nice person, because when they go, then they really go. But yeah, here's the end of this sketchbook. We've got, I just really wanted to get this thing over with, so I just drew Levka again, making his hair go all crazy. And we have this smiling rabbit thing. So yeah, this sketchbook, it ended up being, you know, fairly chunky, almost kind of like an accordion. It's definitely far from an impressive sketchbook, because there's really talented artists out there who can make a sketchbook that is really dedicated to bettering their craft. And this was just me just getting weird stuff out of my system. I wouldn't even say it's weird. It's really nothing at all, actually. But, you know, I'm glad that it's on paper and not still in my system. So, there's that. But, yeah, I just hope this, you know, maybe inspires somebody or gets their creative juices flowing some way or another. So, until next time, this is Gatsby from Gatskin, signing out.